Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. My name is miahtheking, and a recent study has shown that women who are overweight live far longer than the men who mention it. Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released earlier today on Steam called Vern, The Shape of Fantasy, developed by Gametopia and published by Assemble Entertainment. This game was released not in early access and is selling for $15 American. Now, for a little context, in this game you play as Jules Verne, and if you don't know who that is, well, you're missing out on some incredible reading materials. I, for one, really love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But anyway, you play as Jules Verne, and as he adventures into a parallel world built from his imagination called MiAh, you get to explore around, solve puzzles, witness amazing things, all in the search for the mystical Atlantis. At least I think that's what it is. Honestly, it sounds pretty awesome, especially for someone like me who particularly kind of finds great fascination with games like this, or at least in the stories like this. Although, to be honest, I was kind of expecting more of a maybe adventure strategy kind of game, but still, it's pretty interesting. So, as always, let's go into the good and the bad, followed by my final thoughts, shall we? So, up first for the positives is the sound quality. Everything here just sounds great. The music is classical and beautifully portrayed, the sound effects all sound exactly the way you want them to, and this includes ambiance and more. Then you've got the voice acting. It's everywhere and all very well done.
The end of the nation is very close, Vern.
You are very confident about your triumph. Until we open the chest, we won't know for sure if the Compass of Destiny is really inside.
The chest is in perfect shape after 2,000 years under the sea. No human technology can do that. It's Atlantean, that's for sure.
Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes it does sound a bit off or out of place, but for the most part, everything does sound amazing. Next up for the positives is the gameplay mechanics. It's pretty much a point-and-click adventure style, but without the pointing and clicking. Run here, interact with this, take it there, place it, solve a puzzle, and then move on to the next thing. Collect random items into your inventory so you can use them for something unseen or make adjustments to them so that they can be used later. I mean, it's a very stable gameplay mechanic that moves at a pretty decent pace, I guess. You know what? Scratch that. We'll go into that later. But then they go further by introducing a unique mechanic using an item that your character has called the iMag. The iMag allows you to rewrite the events of something that has happened in the past. So, for example, if a bomb went off destroying this ladder hatch, and you need to get up there, you can then use your iMag and rewrite the situation to say that the ladder hatch was sturdy enough to survive the blast, thus making the ladder hatch now usable. See? And that's honestly, that's a pretty awesome mechanic that I just can't get enough of. See, when you find yourself with a problem, you can activate the iMag and then the game gives you options, choices on how to phrase the statement. Vern is basically rewriting history like he's writing a novel each time he uses the iMag, but if he doesn't word it carefully enough, then it just might not work. It has a recharge time, so that you can't just spam it, and it also has these larger story-based events where Vern is trying to rewrite history, but it's a stressful situation or something, and in those moments you need to pass a QTE segment of mashing the correct buttons for him to use it. And if you get it wrong, it can be a bit game-changing. The possibilities that this mechanic opens up are pretty intense, and so far as I've played, I've found it very interesting and it hasn't gotten dull. Other than this, yeah, it's pretty much a point-and-click adventure style of game, no real threat, and just mysteries and puzzles to solve in a particular order as you progress through the game's story. Speaking of the game's story, that's my next positive. The writing. I mean, we are dealing with Jules Verne here, so the writing just has to be immaculate, am I right? Well, I know, he didn't write this, but I'm just saying. Anyway, it's all pretty well done. The dialogue is well written, the story is very intriguing, and then you've got this mysterious plot of a possible traitor, and with all the different tidbits of information flying at you, it works well to keep the whole thing unknown, and to keep you curious enough to want to keep progressing to solve that mystery. Not only that, but they give you these little collectible tidbits of information like a magazine or a book or something, and then it'll pull up a codex that has background information, all very well written about this, that, or the other. The whole story is just overall interesting, to be honest, because it's not even just about that, it's about trying to find Atlantis, I think. I mean, they're looking for an island using tools and items left behind from Atlantis. I don't know if I've missed something or if, they just haven't gotten to that point yet in the story, but either I'm going to Atlantis or some other super special secret island for some reason or another. I mean, we already have the Nautilus and the Flame of Hephaestus, so I'm not sure what else they wanted to grab, but I am excited to find out. The next positive that I have here is the stability and the price of the game. The game is super stable, not a single bug or glitch to be found. And for the price, well, with the voice acting and the well-written text, interesting, quirky, mysterious gameplay mechanic, I think the price tag is actually one of the most appropriate I've ever seen. It's a small little game that's very well made with obvious effort put into it and selling for a price that makes sense considering its look and lack of high-speed action moments or big gameplay mechanical things that could be installed to make the game needlessly complicated or needlessly overwhelming when it doesn't need to be. overall, the price is appropriate. And last but not least is the look and feel of the game. I'm not going to say that these pixelated graphics are the best I've ever seen, but they are pleasant on the eyes, and they do manage to paint a beautiful picture. I know they're just pixelated, but even so, if you take other graphics out of the equation, and you just judge this based on other pixelated graphical games, then you'll find that it actually looks quite good. The contrast and attention to detail is what really drives me in this point, and despite the fact that it's pixelated, it has some pretty good animation sequences that I wasn't expecting that looked really nice as well. Alright, so that's all I got for the positives, and up next I gotta go into the negatives. But before we go into those, I could really use the help of anyone who watches this video. My channel only grows if I get more views. I'm doing everything on my end to help me get more views and to get me more publicly noticed, but what I really need is the support of the YouTube community. If you guys could spread the word of my channel and share my videos along with your likes and subscriptions, it would really help my channel grow so much faster. So I'd really appreciate if you guys and girls out there could help my channel grow by spreading the word. Also, I do this thing on my channel called Same Day Reviews. You make a request for a game you're interested in, and I'll buy it and review it and get a video posted that same day for you. But I won't put out 2 videos in one day, so make your request and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Alright? Thank you. Now then, on to the negatives. Now honestly, I was kind of scratching my head trying to figure out what negatives this game has, and what I came up with are all kind of small, but I still felt I needed to mention them anyway. The first is that the controls can be a bit awkward. I mean, I have a mouse, it's even shown in the game, but it does nothing, so that's a little confusing. But then you've got the placement of the buttons. They can be awkward to manage when you're trying to do stuff, like you have to use R and T to rotate menu options. I mean, that's just awkward. You use Q to back out of things, both E and spacebar to confirm things. It's awkward, and it makes the gameplay a bit annoying at times. The next negative I have is the repetitive nature of the game. So, if you're looking for exciting, engaging gameplay, look elsewhere. The reason to keep playing this is the story and the mystery, not the gameplay. Sure, the changing the past mechanic is cool, but the game essentially boils down to this. Go here, find this. Go there, place this. Listen to dialogue. Go there, find this, solve this puzzle, grab this, go there, listen to dialogue. It's just that pretty much, that's pretty much it, just rinse and repeat, with a change in circumstances. If you're super into the story, this might not bother you too much. But if you're not, then this will probably start to annoy you after an hour or so. And the last negative that I have is the overall speed of the game. Everything moves at its own pace, and it just happens to be a bit slow. Everyone talks a bit slow, Vern runs kind of slow, each cinematic is kind of slow, just everything takes its time. I mean, during a cinematic experience, that could be fine because it helps build drama and tension, you know, like in cutscenes. But during the gameplay, when you know you gotta run around this island to find things and solve puzzles, but watching him spend an hour climbing a ladder 3 or 4 times, it starts to get annoying. And this is the entire gameplay, so you know it's not going anywhere, and if you're not prepared for it, it's gonna get on your nerves real quick. Alright, so those are all the negatives that I could think of. You see what I mean? Are they bad? Sure. Are they game-breaking? Not really. I think it's all a matter of perspective. If you don't mind the slower pace they go for, then it's not an issue for you. But if you think time-changing mechanics are stupid, then this game might have some irritation stored up for you. You see, it's a matter of perspective. Honestly, I think this is a very interesting little game with an intriguing storyline and a curious mystery. It's heavily story-driven with some puzzles and item collection along the way to help you push on to the next bit of story or mystery. It's not a fast-paced game, and it's not a strategy game, it's not anything like that. It's point and click, based on story, and it moves at its own slow pace. What I'm trying to say is that this game is only meant for a certain type of audience. I can't recommend that everyone go out and play this game. What I can do is inform you as to what the game is going to be like, and if it sounds like something you'd be interested in, then it's perfectly fine and safe for you to buy and try out. But if this doesn't sound like something you'd normally be interested in, then I would just pass on it. In my personal opinion, it doesn't really do anything that grand to shake the mold and encourage people of all genre types to play it. With that in mind, the choice is up to you guys, but if you do decide to give it a try, don't worry about it not being worth the price or being unbroken, unfinished, or uninteresting. I think that if this is your kind of thing, or if you are into this kind of stuff, then it's a safe bet. Go ahead and buy it, you're going to enjoy it. It's worth the price, it's worth your time. Alright? Alright, so that's all the time I got for this video today, everybody. Thank you so much to everybody who decided to drop by and watch. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.